Good morning. I'm Mike Neundorfer with Advanced RV here in Cleveland, Ohio. We get a lot of questions by clients. Hey, can you build something that's not fancy? Everything you guys make is beautiful, but we want something that doesn't look fancy. So Brittany kind of took that to heart. I'm gonna ask you if you could guess what her favorite color is. The name of it right now is Baja, and it'll probably stick. We had this chassis, we decided to build it out as a spec van. It's a standard length 170-inch wheelbase, but we have moved the bathroom forward enough so that we have room in the back so that we can still put two bikes in like we can with the extended. When we put these together, we look at the laminate or we look at one thing and we say to ourselves, that may be, that's pretty risky. We're doing funky things as well as beautiful things. I think this funky thing is gonna be beautiful. There's a brushed stainless trim and all the under cabinets are white. So this is gonna be a very bright van. The floor is gray with a little bit of white in it that'll bring up the white ceiling. I'm not the designer that should be talking about this, Brittany is, but I'm really excited about what's going into this van from an innovation technology standpoint as well as from a design standpoint.
Hi Marcia, well thank you for taking the time to share your perspective with us today. So as we've configured different vans in the past, you've tended to pick more earthy colors, more calming, more woody.
Yes.
And when you went inside Baja, surprise, what was your initial feeling when you walked in?
Well, I felt like it was a rental beach house and that I could live here for a while. This would be fun and different. So it is a totally different mood for me, but it has a feeling of leisure and fun and adventure and a throwback to the 60s or 70s maybe. It could be fun. As unique as this van is, there are a lot of things that are very familiar and comfortable for me. I love the kitchen on this side, and I like this big countertop, and this is extended more because this table is integrated into it. So that feels very good. And done in stainless steel, I think it's just really a nice contrast and softens this green.
One of the things I've been pushing for a long time is an integrated stainless steel countertop and sink. I love the look of it. It saves weight. There's no seam in the sink. It's easier to clean.
It gives this feeling of spaciousness. I mean, it really looks like a huge counter. I'm sure it's no bigger than any other counter, but it looks huge.
One of the big challenges in a motorhome is tables. So we wanted to create a table that's stored in its own place, deployed, had multiple surfaces and multiple uses. So I went and talked to Dave, put an idea in his head, and within a couple days he had a prototype.
Yeah, I was thinking about it and trying to find a way to stow away and be out of the way. This was sort of a preliminary, basic little design throw together that would fold out, work like a leaf, drop leaf table, and also fold out, make more surface. This was the beginning stages, and we moved a little bit farther along the drawer slides, and we come up with this design here. This will come out from underneath the counter, and this will open over, be a nice stainless countertop. You can also push it back in, and this will be sticking out at the end of the counter so they didn't have a place to put stuff. But then you just open it back up, stow it away. I am really psyched about what David's done. Thanks so much. I'm really excited about this.
I'll open this up here for you, actually for the first time. Oh, that was very easy. It's taller, but it works for my height.
Sure.
I don't know what you think, and we could share a meal, or somebody can work here and use it either as an open surface or even just the half.
I like a L shape like that for a kitchen counter.
And then it just folds up and nests right in back underneath the countertop here.
That's so much better than pulling that table out from underneath the couch. Actually, Mike and I often would just sit and eat on our laps because that was a little bit cumbersome to get that table out.
So Marcia, as we were talking internally about the design of this motorhome, we wanted to bring it all together. What have we learned in these 7 years? And go from there. So some of the things that we're going to point out go along with that objective. And these curtains, if you wanted to test them out for the first time, just to see how they move.
Right off the bat, I see that they seal very nicely, which is very important because, as you know, Mike likes to be stealth, and we stop a lot of odd places.
When you stop, you close the curtains, totally blacks out any light coming from the inside, and then when you're sleeping, it totally blocks any light from the outside. We've been able to accomplish that by putting hidden steel strips behind the trim and magnets, but Baja incorporates a new track. That track is recessed further in the top in the window, so it hangs down. It's an elegant design. Curtains and window light blocking in the Sprinter are such a challenge because the sides slope in. So if you attach a curtain at the top and let it hang perpendicular, it's out a couple inches from the window. There's a lot of time and experimentation and prototype building that has to come of that.
I like how these seal, and that's with magnets, I see, and they just move so easily. And then close so easily.
Great.
And they stay attached here on the sides and tuck in here. So that's great.
Oh, insulation too.
Oh yes, insulation too.
So with the 2019s, the rear doors are done differently, so we don't need to put wall panels on them. So they're more of a covered finish for the windows.
I like the way the curtains hang.
The other thing that you won't even see in your new van is the cushion design for the sofa bed. We had motorhomes built by some fine factory manufacturers, Marcia and I, before we started Advanced RV. And the beds were, they just weren't really comfortable. When I started this, I wanted to figure out how to do very comfortable beds. We've been able to accomplish that. We've been tweaking the mechanics of this for 7 years. We've been tweaking the cushions, getting new low VOC cushions for these beds. And now Patricia and Mary have come up with a way to mount the cushions that uses zippers.
All we have to do is remove the interior, replace it with what you're looking for, what's going to make you comfortable. Zip it right back up. You can send these back if you live across the United States and you don't have the time to, take the fun road trip back over here to Willoughby, Ohio. We'll teach you how to remove these so it's easy installation and removal and absolutely no stress whatsoever. Mary and I were discussing, Mike wants to take it to another level, and she's like, we initially, talked about putting zippers in, and I'm like, all right, let's do this, let's try it out. And one thing that I love working with you is that we can actually try it and keep going with it until we know that it's finally complete and we feel comfortable with it. And I feel like we've had a great success, and it's been a great process over the last few weeks to make this, happen.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
This is a real improvement.
Excellent.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
They align better when they're installed. They can be easily removed for repair. It's a quicker installation. It's just a better design. And so you don't even see that, except maybe that the seams line up a little bit better.
Well, to get your first opinion in the bathroom, we've changed the sink design.
Oh, I like this stainless steel finish very much. And that's a good size sink.
We wanted to optimize the size of the sink to make it as small as possible, to make the bathroom as large as possible initially. But we found during use that it wasn't quite as handy as we thought. So we put a couple more inches on it. It doesn't impact shower size significantly. And it's a wonderful size sink now.
This is great.
We get requests to build a crude motorhome, and we're having trouble doing that.
In the dash, they've added the splash again.
Back to the 70s again.
We have in-house hydro dipping capabilities. We couldn't get us quality of supply that we needed, so we purchased the hydro dip equipment, and we've have really good skills in-house for that. The 2019 Sprinter provided some opportunities to have some fun with hydro dip. So we hydro dipped some highlight trim pieces.
Echo green is the color, and we get a light brushed aluminum graphic on top of it with a satin clear. Certain lights will hit it and you'll see the hydrographics.
Whose idea was this your idea to take these two trim pieces? And
It was a collaboration of Mike Griffiths, Zach, and I. We talked about doing something like that to see how it looked.
I think it's really cool. What else did you hydro dip?
We did the center dash piece where the screen goes.
Did you try any other pieces, or did you think about anything else?
We tried a couple other things, but it just did not look right, so we kind of scrapped that. We're still learning the process with these 2019, so we're trying to figure out what we can hydro dip, give that classic look to it.
As we mentioned, this is the new 2019 dash, so it's a larger display. And we've housed the tire pressure monitoring system a little bit lower. First impressions for me seeing this, it seems a little more integrated. I wonder if you're also sitting up here, you might have easier visibility and access. I know sometimes I've had to lean back to see it.
Well, initially, Alex came up to me after driving, I think, Bam Bam back from wherever it was. And the TPMS was beeping at him, and he realizes that it's, it's way up in the headliner. It's hard to see or hard to figure out what was going on. So he kind of gave me like an idea, or at least like a guideline of sorts. It's like if we can put the TPMS down here, maybe. And at the time, we also knew that there are other buttons down here. One to switch the view up to the radio, and then the other one for the 360. Also, with this new design, normally there's an antenna sticking out for the TPMS, but now we can actually use a kit that brings the antenna underneath the vehicle and picks up a better signal from the tires.
There was nothing here before, right? This whole black thing you created. How did you do that?
Correct. So I spent a lot of time in SolidWorks and a lot of time with our 3D printer to kind of make these shapes, shape them how we wanted them, so they all fit in there nice and neat.
It's a very clean looking dash.
Very flush.
Looks like it's built right into the Sprinter dashboard, which it is, but it looks like it's part of the Mercedes offering. We wanted to do a better job, a better looking and a better functioning over the cab storage area. We wanted it to be soft on the bottom so that it would even take a little bit of noise, attenuate some of the minimal noise that we have in the cabin now. We wanted it to have a lip on top, as much storage as possible, but yet have room to get up and go to the back without banging your head. We wanted a soft corner on it, and we wanted it to be beautiful, and Alex did an awesome job on that.
But one of the things that we set out with this project to do was offer storage at the top of the van while also having it blend in with the Mercedes-Benz front end. We obviously put in the green with the white and the black to go with the color scheme in the van, but also we chose the material underneath this to match the leather of the seats that come from Mercedes-Benz so that all of the finishes match perfectly as if they were factory. We do have some map lights underneath the shelf to give you a little bit more bright light. Mercedes-Benz does include their own map lights, but we didn't think that was enough, so we decided to add our own. One of the other features that we thought was really important was the factory Mercedes-Benz sun visors and storage pockets. We wanted to make sure we kept those. We didn't want to eliminate them in any way, and they actually have your grab handles incorporated into them as well. So when we were designing the shelf, we wanted to bring it down from the ceiling as much as humanly possible to give you as much storage as you could use, but we also didn't want to remove anything from the van that came factory that was a storage element. One of the main objectives that we were looking to accomplish with this was to create a shelf that could be bolted into any 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. So this shelf can be color changed, it can be customized to anyone's van. As long as you have a 2019 Sprinter, you can have one of these upfitted into your van. It does not have to be an ARV specifically.
Another thing that is very subtle, but I think it's way cool, we used to mount the speakers, a flush mount, so that they would look like, they were high quality JL speakers made in Florida, but it just had a look that wasn't great. I said something to BMO about it. He said, yeah, we can flush mount.
So we came up with an idea just to add a little bit more integration into it to make a speaker grill. So what we did is we had cabinets CNC out the shape, And then I made a perforated grill out of aluminum. We made a form and pounded it out with a hammer. And then we had Rick in the paint shop throw a nice paint job on it.
Yeah, tell us how you finished that.
Well, I painted it all green, and then I sanded it all off except for where the paint stayed in the holes. So certain angles it'll look crushed aluminum, certain angles it'll look painted green. So we kind of give it that flip-flop effect.
You're an artist, man.
Thank you.
Just the perforations through the screen are green. The rest of it is clear-coated aluminum, and it is really elegant. So I apologize for getting excited about these subtle things, but I personally have a problem, and that is that aesthetics affect me. And so we hope that you enjoy what the work these guys have done. I didn't even mention the zoned RGBW lighting. There's new lighting over the valances. It just creates an environment. If you're watching TV at night or something, you can dim the lights, you can change the colors. And Marcia and I have to admit, we enjoyed that. We had the same thing in Escape, not quite as detailed as in Baja.
We're always looking for new ways to add ambient lighting in the vans. And one of the things that we noticed was up in the tops of our window valances here, we were losing an opportunity to add an ambient accessory lighting source. So we decided to tie them in with the rest of our RGB color changing LEDs. They operate independently from the rest of the systems in the van, but the three windows we chose, the main windows back here in the back of the van, function together as a unit, but can be operated separately from the rest of the ambient lighting in the van.
That splash of color back up on the cabinets just seems to continue to move the light and makes the space feel bigger. I
think so, yes.
Maybe as we were talking about the space, this mirror might have something to do about it, recessed into the outside portion of the door to just help bounce the light and make a feeling of space. So this is not something we typically do on the bathroom door, but first impressions, did you notice it when you walked in? Was it?
I did, I think it brightens it up, and it'll be very handy. You know, when somebody's in the bathroom, you still have a mirror.
Great point.
I'm really excited too about a lot of subtle changes. The battery system, we just keep making it more and more reliable. Fred found some very expensive but very reliable waterproof connections that we're now putting in the waterproof enclosure for the batteries. There's double and triple redundancy of quality in what we do. Our battery enclosures are stout. I mean, if something happens in an accident, the batteries are going to stay where they are. Our Silverleaf screen, we've updated that, combined a couple screens, made it much more intuitive. So all these little things you might not even notice. We've gotten to the point now, we've been in business 7 years, we've been doing a ton of R&D on lithium batteries, on tanks, on macerators, on valves, and on a lot of other subtle things that relate to accessibility for service, serviceability, but most of all, reliable life. So the biggest thing that I wanted to accomplish with Advanced RV was to build a motorhome that was as freeing as possible in travel and lifestyle. So that means off the grid. We've been out for 5.5 weeks on one trip, and it is such a joy to be able to travel all day and then just go to sleep wherever you want to sleep. And what happened with Baja was we had a little bit more time. It's the last German manufactured chassis that we've been able to get. This was manufactured in Dusseldorf. As you know, future Sprinter chassis are being manufactured in Charleston, South Carolina. So we had a little bit of time because of the delay in getting the South Carolina chassis. And then I want to thank our craftspeople. Our guys had some fun and exhibited a lot of creativity with Baja. Everybody kicked in to a high level of innovation and took the time. A lot of nights I'd be leaving and there'd be guys here powwowing, trying things out. And Marcia and I are really looking forward to taking Baja to the Thousand Islands next week to a wedding we have. We're going to do a little bit of hiking and maybe some canoeing. I'm sure we won't plug in. I'm sure we'll be able to operate for a whole week on the water and the gray and black tanks that we have available. So after that, Baja is for sale. And if somebody really likes green, I think that this may be their one of the few opportunities. If it doesn't sell, we'll put it into rental, and it'll be a huge opportunity for people to try out the advanced RV lifestyle. So it's been a lot of fun working with the guys to build Baja. It's going to be even more fun using it next week, and thanks for listening.